Hey everybody, come on in, grab your coffee or your tea, or just water and lemon juice. Anything's fine, and sit down and relax while I tell you a lot. Maybe. I think I'm going to deal with the hobbies first and then get on to something over here. So let me see. Oh, the traffic cone. I always forget something. It never fails. I'm not going to play my age either because I've always been like this. Oh dear. I think the teachers called me silly things. But anyway, my daughter has her oldest orchid that has a long monopodial stem that's like a big taproot going under the medium, and she can't fit it in any of her pots. And like the one I had, I undid in the bathtub that was in the traffic cone, which I will never do again. If I want to repot something in the traffic cone, because it's just bark, I'll just shake out the bark and the roots that are attached to the traffic cone stay. They do not like to be bothered. I ended up ripping them all off the outside, and then I ended up cutting them. So they didn't like it, and it's doing wonderful now, but still. In fact, the white one, that's how wonderful it's doing. Has lots of leaves, but it did take a shock, and it did set it back. So anyway, I had cut it off, and I'm still trying to grow the little piece I cut off. I cut off that had no greenery on it at all, and it's doing better in the terrarium. So anyway, old story, right? So anyway, she asked for a traffic cone, and I've almost finished it, so I thought I'd share it with you. And what I started with was a traffic cone. You know, the ones you see on the road, and don't be tempted to steal them. I haven't stolen any. Jack teases me. Excuse me. I think I need a drink of water. There we go. So I started off with Jack drilled the holes. I think they're not ½ inch. They're a little bit smaller. My little finger fits in a hole. There you go. And I have chubby little fingers. So the first thing after he drilled the holes and cut off that flat, heavy base it's a big square thing that holds them down, and he drills holes all around the edge, and then he cuts it off after. It's easier that way. Then he drills holes, and he's got a drill attached to something, and he just goes like this, puts lots of holes, and he puts a screen in the bottom, so the pot is basically this big. Now, these are all rubber traffic cones, and I have a hard plastic traffic cone we'll get into after. They're not very good. Don't buy those hard plastic ones at the dollar store. They don't hold paint very, my goodness, they don't hold paint very well, and they're just not the same. So anyway, I started off sanding the outside, and then I put black gesso, golden black gesso to be exact, all over. And then I started painting leaves and little flowers. No talent required for these little flowers. 4 little jabs going different ways with a straight flat brush, and you can add color on top of color to kind of add some difference. Now, I haven't finished these ones. I was waiting for it to dry, but they get a little white thing that looks like a bird, like's in the center of most orchids. I haven't done that yet. Something like this. And so then it gets 2 coats of indoor-outdoor water-based Repotting. And then it's ready for her. and she can get that orchid in the right thing. And I had this stand Jack had made some time ago, and it's just perfect, really. Not the big tall one, but nice and easy to handle. First project out of the way. I'll put it back here. Okay, you know me when I start doing things. Okay, and I did want to show you this garage sale find. I was at this garage sale, and it's kind of our fun thing to do. And we only go out for an hour, maybe 2 at the most. But I saw this box, and I said to the fellow, how much is this box? And he said, 10 cents. I said, 10 cents. Now the hinges all need reattached. Inside, it's velvet, and I vacuumed it out, and it's pretty clean. So it just needs a little tiny bit of work, and maybe I'll touch it up a bit, put another coat of everything on it. But I have a small box that I keep all my orchid stuff in, and it's not big enough. So this is what I'll keep my twist ties and butterfly clips and all that stuff, scissors. That's what I'll do, and it will stay in. Now, if you've been watching all my videos, you saw the owl I had out on the patio that was all awful looking. Well, I've painted him, and he got gold paint, water base, and then 2 coats of everything, inside and outside. And then he had black eyes, just plain kind of like marbles. And Jack said, well, wouldn't it be kind of neat to give him real eyeballs? So he does have real eyeballs, and that's just their thing on top too. And then they very carefully will go in behind this metal thing, and they'll be inside with just the orange showing. And then he's made a solar light for inside, and we're thinking it's going to go on the back of the bike the lady drives in the front yard. So that's it. Project's out of the way. At least one not involving orchids too much. Now, here's the other thing. I am so happy with this terrarium, and I'm going to show you a couple things. Everything the only things that aren't mounted, I want to just mount. I'm not growing anything in dirt. But this fern was not in the glass jar, and I wasn't sure it was liking it, but when I pulled it out of the bark, I got a bunch of roots, so I'm giving it time. But when I water it, it goes down into the bottom, but it's still in a pot. There's no soil in, just glass beads and water, that is all. And over here, this tree is in a pot, so when I water it, once in a while I'll just take it out and empty the pot, so the water's not going through. And this little pot has a little slipper orchid that almost didn't make it. So these were on a little table over there, and I'm going to show you how this changed. Now, in the mornings we get beautiful light from the east shining on this counter. Plus, there's so many windows in this room. It gets amazing light on the counter. So we moved it from the little table we made, did something good with the table, and it's good. I can move it around, I can work on it, and it sits right back in that corner normally. But for this video, I've done this. Now, I'm going to show you a close-up of how all the little roots. I'm getting lots of little roots, new tiny leaves, and the one that was deadest looking, Horella retricella, a bundle of black dry roots, has little tiny roots coming. And I haven't wired her in yet, but I'm going to. But I want to turn this around. Now, you can see there's a big hole in here. And I have this orchid. Now, this orchid, I have hated this pot for a long time, and I've been wanting to do something. And I said to Jack, I should take that orchid and stick it in that hole. With just any bark that's attached to the roots can stay. And I know it's kind of, I watered it good this morning, and I'll show you. It is attached. It is attached to the sides of this pot. I can get it. You can see roots in there twining around. So it is attached, but because I hate this pot, you can see this was the dollar hard plastic one. It's not as good. And because it's so small, of course, here with our dry air, summer and winter in the house or outside, it's not that good. So I'm going to, while he's not looking, I thought I'd take it out. I know the ones are going to suffer. And I'm going to put it in that hole. I'm going to squish it in. And it's easy to water. And I want to show you something else. Now, because I'm misting, I have a little mister every day. I mist a little bit. And because I'm misting and also watering, when I want to remove some of this water, I just use this. It works great. Just squeeze. I never used it for gravy anyway, so it's clean. It works great. I can take out any amount of water I want when I want. And this little watering can works perfect also. And the other change I made since you seen me last was I had lava rock in here. And I found some more glass beads, so I took the lava rock out because of all the little holes in lava rock and things that can grow in a humid environment could grow. And I wanted to stick with the beads, which are easy to wash and rinse. It's easy for me to look after. So I'm going to turn this back around. And there. And you can see the marble. That's the handle. So I'm going to bring you closer so you can see what's going on in a minute. But first, I'm going to, it's been a while since this one's ever, I don't know if it's ever been changed or out of this pot, to be honest with you. So, anyway, I decided to do it and share it with you. I think the ones that were stuck to the side are coming off. But there's some in the bottom that, oh boy. You know, gentle hands. Okay, we're getting there, we're getting there. Now there is something out of hole. I can get my hand in. The only real problem is the very bottom. And there's a huge rock. There's a huge rock I put through so the little stuff wouldn't come through, and a couple nice little roots. So I can get that out of there, and I don't think it's going to come out this way. I can see air. I'm afraid this is not looking good. But I'll show you what I've got here. So these are stuck. These are the only ones that are stuck. And I'm going to take this knife and go under very gently. I'm going to try not to lose anything. I think we're going to be okay. That's positive thinking. You know, those of us that love our plants and love, it's a hobby. people spend hours golfing or fishing, and we don't have to feel guilty for our love of plants and everything because we get to enjoy them every day. We don't have to travel a long way. They're right with us in the house. And it's a wonderful hobby. I get lots of exercise on watering day. Plus, it's something to look at every day. So, okay. Yuck. This is gone. I don't like it. And now, let's see. I don't think I've ever took it out of this pot. So I think this root is an old root that it's old and dry. It's dry, even though it's been soaking a long time, because it's one of the original ones from when I potted. And there's one in the center. I'm just going to bring you in a little closer. So you might not see me, but you'll see what's going on, I hope. So here we go. Now I have to get organized here. There. Now. Okay, there we go. And so I know there's anything that's attached because it's going to be in the air, and that's the idea of this terrarium, is the humidity. That's why these are all mounted. Nothing will rot. And I open the door once a day. Jack's going to make a tiny little fan for in there, but I blow in there. But we're going to make a tiny little fan because even with the jar, I took the lid off. So once a day, I might open it up for maybe an hour and let everything get some fresh air. And then I mist it again just before I close the door. So the roots on this plant are pretty good. And this bark that is attached is it's got more roots than I thought it did. And I'm going to have to, where's that hole? I'll show you that hole from here. Now it might be challenging, but it's right in there. So this plant is going to have, you know what? It's got more roots. I don't know. What do you think, you guys? It's got more roots than I thought. I may have to, holy moly. Oh dear. Well, none of them are going to be, if I can get it in there, in that hole. That's another story. What do you think? Okay. You're going to have to give me a minute, and I'm going to be right back. Okay, everybody, I got it in there. It's going to stay. I'm going to have to wire it in, but I want to give you a close-up. And then I want to show you something in the other window before I go. So I'm going to close you up right now. There. Now. Okay. There. Now I am going to wire it in. I have some very fine copper wire, and I will bring up some of the roots. I'm not sure. I might use a little string too, some raffia, just for the roots, but I am going to wire it in. You can see from both sides. And this is a mini, so it won't, when it does flower, it won't get a big flower, but I do want it off the ground. And these roots that are hanging here, they may try to go down for water, but I can fish them out. But I think I will tie them up. And you can see Phalaenopsis, she has nice roots and a new leaf coming. Now, I'm going to open this, and we're going to go to look at this side. That's a good thing about having it on the counter that I didn't know, not having one before. But Horella reticula, maybe from this side I can get that better. There we go. I'll take the camera in. Now, she had nothing but dead brown roots. And there is signs of little roots coming in there. So I'm quite happy, and a new leaf. So this is the orchid that had no leaves. It's still there and it's doing well. So the fern, I'm not sure because it wasn't in the jar, but it should like a terrarium. And everything else is doing good. So I'm going to wire that in. And I'm going to take you over here and show you what the table is doing before I have to make lunch. So the table, it just was too far away and too low for me to play all the time. So what happened is the one where I put the 2 orchids in, and it seems to fit perfect. It gets a nice amount of light. Now this is the spike I cut off because it blew had a beautiful spike with lots of buds, and it grew over the register in the other room without me knowing. So I cut it off and I said, well, if you feel like sending out another spike, you can. And because it's so healthy, I mean, it has lots of leaves and roots, and it's so healthy, I decided to let it. So it is sending out a nice new spike, and I should attach it there. And this is the spike off the one I got last year from Rosemary on Mother's Day, and it's coming along, and it's not as old as the other one, but I love lots of leaves. Lots of leaves is good. But something nibbled that leaf. I don't know what, but when it was very little, something nibbled it. So things are looking pretty good here. Traffic cones. And the north window is proving a bonus. Things are doing really well. And here's this traffic cone. I set it up here just for the video. So it did not like being removed from the pot at all. So lesson learned. It is getting a new leaf, plus these beautiful blooms. So the sun's coming out, hooray, because we've had like not normal spring weather, but should be summer soon. And a peek outside. I gotta go open the greenhouse. Oh, we moved trees out there, but that'll be another video. And thanks for watching, and hope I didn't bug you too much. Bye.